Welcome to Team Paya-Math, kung saan tuturuan ko kayo pagyamanin pa ang iyong mga nalalaman tungkol sa math. For our topic for today, let's have this video! So let's solve now some examples of sequences. So let's have example number 1. Here, for example number 1, we must find the next 3 terms of each sequence. Let's have the first one. We have the sequence 25, 17, 9, and so on. The next one, we have 0.5, 1.5, 4.5, and so on. Letter C, we have 1, -4, 9, -16, and so on. Letter D, we have 4, 5, 9, 14, and so on. So let's solve now the first one. We have the given sequence, which is 25, 17, 9. So how do we find for the next terms of this sequence? So we must look for a pattern. So as we all know, the terms in a sequence should have a fixed rule or a pattern that they should follow. So how do we find for the pattern of this sequence? We must observe the numbers in the sequence. So as you can see, the sequence started with 25, then we have 17, and then 9. So one observation is this sequence is decreasing. Why? Because it started with 25, then decreases to 17, and then 9, and then so on. So that's already a hint for us that the next 3 terms should be less than 9. Now, what are the other observations that can you make based on this example? One observation that we can see here is that when I subtract 25 and then 17, it will give me 8. Okay? Or actually -8. And then when you subtract 9 and 17, it will give us -8. So there is a common difference between 2 terms, no? So if following this pattern, what do you think is the next term in the sequence? So it should be, so let's rewrite the sequence. So we have 17, 9. So these two has a common difference of -8, and then these two has a common difference of -8. Okay? So these two should also have a common difference of -8, this, and then this one. So how do we find for the next 3 terms or this term? Okay, the fourth term. So we must add 9 and -8. So what is 9 plus -8? We have 1. Okay, so we have 1 here. And then we have -7. -7 minus 8 will give us -15. So the next 3 terms of this sequence are 1, -7, and -15. Okay, so let's consider our next example. So we have 0.5, 1.5, 4.5. So this one, as you can see, the sequence is increasing because it started with 0.5, and then we have the second term, which is 1.5, obviously greater than the first one. And then the third term is 4.5, which is greater than 1.5. So we'll be expecting that the next 3 terms are greater than 4.5. And then if you can see, the terms in this sequence has a common pattern. Maybe nakikita nyo na siguro, no, kung ano yung common pattern nila. Okay? So let's just rewrite it here. So we have the sequence 0.5, 1.5, 4.5, and then we must look for the next 3 terms of this sequence. Now, if the first term is 0.5 and then the second term is 1.5, what do you think is the relationship of 1.5 and 0.5? Okay, maybe if I divide 1.5 by 0.5. Okay, let's divide 1.5 by 0.5. It will give me a result of 3. How about if I divide 4.5 by 1.5? It will also give me a common ratio, okay, which is 3. So meaning, what do we mean by this? To get 1.5, you must multiply 3 to the previous term, which is 0.5. So meaning, we multiply this by 3 to get 1.5, and then to get 4.5, we multiply this by 3. So, following this pattern now, we can be able to find for the next 3 terms. So, multiplying 4.5 by 3, we will have 13.5. Multiplying this by 3, oops, that's 3. 13.5 by 3, we're going to have 40.5. Okay? Multiplying this by 3, then we will have 121.5. So meaning the next 3 terms of this sequence are 13.5, 40.5, and then 121.5. So let's go with our third example. So let us consider this example. We have 1, -4, 9, -16, and so on. So go back with our previous examples. The first one, we have a common difference among the terms. On the second example, we have a common ratio. Okay, so or we are multiplying every terms to get the next term. But here, if we're going to take a look at the terms in here, we have our first observation, that is, this one is alternating sequence. Why? Because we started with a positive number, followed by a negative number, then followed by a positive, then by negative again. So meaning the next 3 terms of this sequence must have the sign positive. Okay, so this is positive. So this is positive, this is negative, this is positive, negative. And then the next term after -16 must have a sign of positive, followed by negative, okay, and then by positive. So we need to take note of this. So the next 3 terms must have the sign positive, negative, and positive. Okay? So how do we find for the numbers? Okay? Since we already know the sign of the next 3 terms. Okay? If you're going to take a look at the numbers in this sequence, isn't this familiar? We just eliminate first the sign. Okay? But we must first consider the numbers here. So we have 1, 4, 9, and then 16. Isn't this familiar? Okay, so this one is just the square numbers. So 1 is 1, we can simplify, or we can rewrite 1 as 1 squared. We can rewrite 4 as 2 squared. Okay, 9 as 3 squared, and then 16 as 4 squared. So what do you think is the next number after the next square number after 16? That is 25. Next, we have 36, and then we have 49. Because we have 5 squared, 6 squared, 7 squared, no? So meaning, these are the number that we are looking for. But these are not yet the terms of the sequence. Why? Because we must also follow the other rule, which is the alternating sign. So combining these two, so 25 must be positive. So the next term after -16 is 25. Next, we have 36. Oops, but this should be negative. So this is -36. and then followed by positive 49. Okay? So these are now the next three terms of this sequence. So hindi pare-parehas yung pattern. Magkakaiba ang pattern ng iba't ibang sequence. So let's go now with our last example of sequence. We have letter D, which is the given sequence is 4, 5, 9, 14, and so on. So as you can see, or katulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, kada sequence iba-iba ng pattern. Iba-iba yung kailangan lang talaga nating malaman kung ano ba yung pattern na nag-exist doon sa given sequence. Kasi nga hindi siya pare-parehas, kailangan nating maging creative. Okay? So dito, ano mapapansin nyo doon sa mga terms ng sequences natin? Lahat sila positive. Tama? So we'll be expecting that the next three terms are all positive. Okay, that's one observation. Now, is there any relationship among the terms in the sequence? Meron, no? So, let's just rewrite the given sequence. So we have 4, 5, 9, 14, and then the next three terms that we have. Okay? So if you're going to take a look at the relationship of the sequence or the terms in the sequence, if I'm going to, as we all know, 4 and 5, if we're going to add this, it will give us 9. Okay? Right? So 4 plus 5 will give us 9. And take note that 4 and 5 is our first and second term of the given sequence. Now, if you're going to take a look at 5 and 9, if we're going to add this, it will give us the fourth term, which is 14. So 5 plus 9, which is equal to 14. And take note that 5 and 9 are the second and third term. And 14 is our fourth term. So, based on this pattern, siguro nakikita nyo na kung paano natin malalaman yung next three terms, no? We can be able to find for the next three terms by adding the two previous terms. Kasi ganun yung ginawa natin dito. Oh. To get 9, we must add 4 and 5, which is our two previous terms. Ganun din kay 14. To get 14, we must add the two previous terms, which are 5 and 9. So to get the next term, here, our fifth term, we must add the third and the fourth term, which are 9 and 14. So what is 9 and 14? This will give us 23. So the fifth term is 23. Now, how are we going to look for the sixth term? Okay? So to find for the sixth term, we must add the two previous term. Ano ba yung two previous term? Bago mag-6, di ba? So that is fourth term and fifth term. So we must add 14 and 23. This will give us 37. So we have 37 as our sixth term. But how about the seventh term? Okay? To get the seventh term, we must add the two previous term, which are the fifth and the sixth term, which are 23 and 37. Oh, what is 23 plus 37? This will give us 60. Okay? So, this is 60. So, meaning the seventh term that we are looking for is 60. Okay? So, as you can see, no, kakaiba itong pattern na to. Kasi, hindi mo makukuha yung susunod na term kung hindi mo alam yung two previous terms. So, may mga ganitong klaseng sequences. And later on, sa discussion natin, all throughout our discussion, siguro meron ako mga masasabing sequences, may mga pangalan, may iba tayo, may mga common sequences tayo na kung saan um, follows the same pattern, no, or rule na may ina-add sa two previous to get the next one. So this is just one example of that sequence. So the three terms that we are looking for are 23, 37, and 60. Okay? Thank you for watching! Don't forget to click the notification bell and subscribe button para updated ka sa mga videos ko.